Kenya not only has a culture of watching films, but also that of producing films. Its beautiful and diverse lands, the savanna, the mountains, the green hills, the beautiful ocean and beaches, colorful and vibrant people, a well-developed infrastructure as well as a history of colonial occupation has given it an edge over other African locations for filming. It is no wonder then that both international Hollywood films and local Kenyan films have been filmed in this beautiful country. It is now easy to find both international films and those by Kenyan filmmakers in cinema halls or being sold in DVD format on streets. Films by Kenyans are also easy to find on the local television screens. It has been a long journey to get here, as we can see while tracing the history of film in Kenya. When Thomas Edison invented film and the Lumiere brothers screened their first film in 1890s, Kenya did not even exist. Colonization was happening in Africa after the scramble for Africa in Berlin, 1895. With the arrival of Europeans to East Africa came the magic of pictures and words being screened.
Long time ago, 100 years ago, according to the historians, and I question some of them, the first one was 1909, which was all silent, black and white, with very cumbersome cameras. This was when the former President of America, Theodore Roosevelt, came on a big safari, and he was here for 5 months. And he ran into a cameraman in Nyeri, whose name was Cherry Kearton. Now, Cherry Kearton was already establishing himself as a wildlife photographer in Britain. So he was hired to accompany Roosevelt on this safari and record it, which he did for a few days. And the resulting film was shown in both London and New York in 1910 or 1911. TR in Africa was the main title. And that was probably the first one. And it encouraged a lot of people to say, "Ooh, I'd like to go there." So more came, and it all started really from there. At the end of the 1920s, there was a film which was called Africa Speaks. Now, this was an expedition again, but with a bit of a difference. They started in Mombasa, and they drove to Lagos overland. There weren't too many roads once they passed Uganda, but they got there, and they filmed the entire expedition. There's a lot of wildlife in it, and they didn't shoot it with guns, so it was beginning to be a bit of a travelogue rather than a hunting film. Wildlife, lions. And there aren't too many lions in Lagos. So they flipped the entire expedition and made it look as if they'd started in Lagos and then driven to Mombasa. So if you watch the film, it's slightly the wrong way around, and it doesn't really fit because it's all out of sequence, because the editor clearly didn't know his geography at all well. So it didn't really work looking at it today. But in those days, it worked, and it did very well. And that, I think,